I know that there are people that you work with, and you sort of forced into a relationship over a period of time, and you have that sort of there's a question that you can tell that there's something that they're just not sort of revealing, but then you after a while you realize, oh, they're really good people, and it's not about that. But sometimes people just struggle to let their guard down, or sort of take the armor off. So how can people work that into, we have a lot of people that follow along that are on really good pathways with their careers, and professionals and executives. So applying that fear lens to career moves, changing jobs, taking risks in careers, where do people go wrong there, and what would be your tips for people that think that might be happening for them?
I think the mistake that lots of us, and including me, I'm on the path, but I am constantly kind of surprised by how in control my fear voice can get. But the mistake that lots of us make is listening too closely to our fear voice. So the model that I talk about in the book has got 6 stages. The first 3 are about changing your relationship with fear. The second 3 are about how to control it. But the thing about changing your relationship with fear, what I think people miss is, first of all, they don't tune into the narrative, right? They don't get it, they don't hear it, or they don't see it, the internal narrative, that is. And then if they do, they really listen to it, and they really take its advice on 100%. If you do this, you will fail. If you do this, you will be excluded. If you do this, people will laugh at you. If you do this. And so when we really listen to what that fear voice says, and we do exactly what it tells us to do, we have left ourselves very, very vulnerable, because what fear wants is our immediate safety. So that's what it will be advising us to do. Stay away from that. Don't take that opportunity, because it doesn't want us to fail. So if we listen to it, it saves us now at the cost of us achieving our longer term goals. So we give our power away to our fear and suffer because we don't reach our long-term goals. So the mistake that I see is that we don't override our fear. We don't get into a habit of listening to our fear, using it for good, because it can be an awesome thing. It can help us avoid failure, and it can help us avoid sort of being excluded. And, it's got some really good things in it, fear of missing out and all those kind of really good things. But if we listen to it all the time, we just do exactly what it tells us to do, we will be living a much, much smaller life, because it will be making choices to keep us safe now. And bigger lives require us working against that fear voice, so that we can move into a position of deliberate choice towards our actions, rather than trying to keep ourselves safe right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it ties in with the career stuff is one thing, your relationships is another thing, like personal relationships as well, your maybe health, I don't know.
Yeah, there's a whole heap. Yeah, we've got a questionnaire actually that looks at this, because what I know to be true from what I've got something called the Courage Club, which has got these courage sprints, which we do like 30 days. It's like a boot camp for your courage. So every day you get kind of 15 minutes sort of thing to push you into a more courageous self. And what I absolutely know, because then everybody, once they've done the courage sprint, everybody gets put in this kind of community called the Courage Club. And so we've got a lot of people in that group. And what I know is that everybody is working on their own area of courage, right? And so there'll be somebody that's arriving into that space because they want to do something physically courageous, and they haven't moved their body in a certain way, or they want to join a team or something. They haven't done that. Or you may get somebody who wants to be more courageous with their career, or you may get somebody who wants to be more courageous in their relationships, or in their money, with their money and their finance. So you get people arriving, and when you do, we do a sort of a a wheel of where your courage lies, and we know that there's no relation within that kind of to each other. So if I've got high courage with my physical stuff, that doesn't have any bearing on whether I've got high courage with my finances. So what I know is that we can use exactly the same skills that people have developed in any area of courage to help them in another.